Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Have you ever pondered how very much alike you and I and others are like raisins? Seriously. A raisin dropped in a glass of fresh champagne will bounce up and down continuously from the bottom of the glass to the top. Happy New Year! Good morning, here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot. Come on, call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Thank you very much, Kate Smith, and God bless America. On this May 5th, Thursday morning, good morning, I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service, 734-6969. Right now, let's have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You again?
Yes, sir. I'd love to do it again.
All right, sir.
Alrighty. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Attaboy, now go answer the phone. All right, there we go. Thank you very much, Wheels. Does a good job over there. It's time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Later on this morning, we're going to be visiting with Whitney and talking about carpet and flooring and kitchen construction, home decor items, and whatever you need to make your house a home, you can find them right there at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Look for the blue door. Really good people serving you. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
We're going to see some sun today, but it's also going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the southeast at 16 miles an hour. Partly cloudy. High of 81 is what we're expecting. Tonight, low of 52. Now, tomorrow, as we head on into the weekend, we are having a storm system move through. Expecting afternoon thunderstorms and rain showers. Going to continue to be windy out of the east, right around 18 miles an hour. Tomorrow, high of 72. Tomorrow night, low of 49. More thunder showers are in the forecast for Saturday, high of 66. And pretty much the same for Sunday with a high of 70. And then for Monday, it's going to be partly cloudy and very windy with a high of 66. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you very much. And brought to you again by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. They've got all kinds of tile and wood and carpet, all the new flooring at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Right now, Merv May, come on in here.
All right, good set of steer calves there. Here to get $31, $31.
Oh, today is sale day at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Number to call for consignment information and sale information, 678-9411. And, of course, Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy, the sale that works for you. Sale time this morning at 10:30, and so far we got these cattle we know are going to be going through a ring, along with a great trailer line run. fun. From Oak Valley Dairy, they're going to bring in 45 pairs, I should say, of really good Black Angus beef cows with calves. 45 pairs of real good Black Angus beef cattle. And don't forget that Daryl Carter up at Park Valley, Utah is bringing in 50 head of 600 to 900 pound yearlings. Oh, yeah. Acme Dairy, TLK Dairy, and Oak Valley Dairy are bringing in a great bunch of butcher cows, and sale time is at 10:30 this morning. The sale that works for you, Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Number to call, 678-9411. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, it gets the steer calves there. Here to get all 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 135, 50, 135, sell them $1.35. Zeb Bell get bottom again.
Oh, I appreciate that, Merv. Hey, by the way, tomorrow is Russell Smith's 91st birthday, and we've been asking you to get cards sent up to him in Pocatello, and just a superman and a great hero to us here. Russell Smith's birthday tomorrow, 91 years young. God bless him. Minidoka County Sheriff Eric Snar is running for re-election. Holy cow, I've got things going off in my pocket. My phone's ringing. Whoo! A working sheriff out in the field doing any job necessary to make our community safer. That's right. He appreciates your vote on May 17th. Re-elect Minidoka County Sheriff Eric Snar, and his promise is to do the very best for you every single day. So remember that on May 17th, paid for by re-elect Eric Snar, Minidoka County Sheriff, Jason Gibbons, the Secretary. Also want to remind you, too, about Shirley Halford Hubbard of Cassia County Commissioner. She wants to be the District 3 Commissioner. That's right. And she said we need to preserve agriculture and make sure it prospers in each community in Cassia County. And she said we need ideas, open ideas with lots of knowledge and always diligent in making sure decisions to make it the best for the Cassia County residents. Don't forget, if you want fair and equal representation for all of Cassia County, vote for Shirley Halford Hubbard for County Commissioner, District 3 in Cassia County. Paid for by the committee. Lois Reinhardt, Treasurer. All right, now I just had a little beep. Wheels, do we have our guest on the line?
Yes, sir, we do.
All right, I'll do that, and I'll have to have a break here in a moment for some more commercials. We're loaded to the gills. I'm going to say good morning to the Burley High School vice principal, and he is also the rugby coach at Burley High School, and I'm going to say his name, and then he can tell me I'm wrong. Kit Kanakoa, how close was I?
That was actually perfect. 100% right on.
All right, now, I got to tell you, Kit, when I saw your name, the first thing that came to mind is that you're riding the pipeline of waves over in Hawaii as a surfer. Are you?
I actually was born and raised in Washington State, but my family does hail from Oahu.
Really? Have you ever surfed?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not very good, but I love to get in the water anytime I can.
Okay, now I don't mean this out of disrespect, but I'm going to just tell you my feelings. That's how this program is, blunt and honest. You guys are nuts to get out there in those waves.
Oh, no. There's just something kind of peaceful and relaxing, believe it or not, when you get out there. It's just this therapy. I don't know how else to explain it, but it's just kind of getting close with nature that way.
Yeah, that's what the shark said when he ate you. Hey, Kit, tell us about rugby. I don't know, and I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm not one of these talk show hosts that says he knows everything, because that's a blatant lie. I don't know that much about rugby. I do know that I've seen a rugby game in Park City, Utah years ago, and I've seen most of the guys when they smiled in a group photo afterwards. Most were missing their teeth and had bloody noses, but they loved the game. What's going on? How do you play this game?
Well, it's kind of a combination of soccer and American football. It actually was born during a soccer match. A guy got bored and decided to pick the soccer ball up and run with it and said, "Tackle me," and that's how the game of rugby was invented. It's a little like controlled chaos. It's 15 people aside, so you've got a lot of bodies on the pitch or the field at the same time, and you have to. The goal is to score, just like in American football. There's what we call a try zone, which would be equivalent to the end zone, but you cannot make a forward pass. The ball can only be advanced by kicking it or running with it, and there's no forward passes, so all the passes have to go backwards or laterally.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I thought you could throw it forward, but you can't. It's got to be, like you said, laterally or backward.
Correct, yes, and that gets, that's the biggest transition for our kids who have played football. They're like, you're kidding me, really? I got to pass backwards every time?
Yeah. Well, now, there's no pads, no helmets, no whatever protective clothing. You're out there and you're just going to kiss your sweet life goodbye, right?
That's what everybody thinks it is and kind of sees it, One of the things we really stress is tackling correctly. The players will say I'm pretty hard on them when they don't instill the fundamentals that we taught, because that's how you really get hurt.
Oh.
That's where you start missing the teeth and you got the bloody nose and, broken bones and whatnot. But we really stress safety, and if they're doing it correctly, we really can reduce our number of injuries.
So basically the tackling, and I've got to hurry along here a little bit, Kit, but I want to take a break here in a second because I want to ask you some more questions. But basically the tackling, where? From like waist down, you said?
Yeah, so what we try to emphasize is cheek to cheek. So
what?
I put my head on the outside, one of the outside legs of the player, and put my cheek on his rear end, on his cheek.
Let's be real careful here, Kit, how we explain this, okay?
Yeah, so the lower you go and you can get around those legs, that's going to be the best way for you to bring down those huge guys.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to stay on the line just for a second. I'm loaded with commercials because of the primary, so bear with me just a minute. And we're talking to Kit Kanakoa of the Burley High School rugby team. He's the coach. Stay by the phone. I'll be right with you. Don't go away. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Oh, my goodness, the food is fantastic. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, anytime, all the time at America's Diner. You stop in and see the great folks, Thomas and Terry and everybody else serving you. You are going to love it, I guarantee it. Remember, America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Absolutely delicious. Want to also remind you about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. They threw open the doors at 7:30 this morning till 5, Monday through Fridays, to serve you with all your heating, electrical, and whatever needs. Heating, cooling, you bet, getting ready for the summer. They've got it all for you. Call ahead, have everything waiting for you, 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Hey, by the way, too, Mad River Laser over in Rupert is having a Mother's Day sale today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Listen to this. They've got buy one, get one at 50% off custom engraving on wooden spoons for just $5. A wonderful idea for Mother's Day. And they've got free embroidery, door prizes, all of this at 502 East Street in Rupert. Great big Mother's sale going on today, tomorrow, and Saturday. Don't forget it. We are on the phone with the rugby coach at Burley High School, and they've got a big game coming up this Saturday. Now, I want to ask you this, Kit. What goes on in those scrums? That doesn't even look or sound good.
There's a real science and an art to it. And basically, it's amazing what these kids will do. They are actually supporting each other up. And if it gives way, the whole thing's going to collapse. It's kind of amazing. And they are just pushing for their lives. They're actually fighting for the ball, for control of the ball.
Well, now, when they get the ball, the ball's placed on the field in the middle of the scrum, is that correctly?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And then, all of a sudden, what does it do? The official blows the whistle, and then everybody just has mass chaos like a mafia hitman?
Yeah. Like I said, it's controlled. So there's 3 commands that the sir or the ref will give. And he'll tell them, do not fully engage until I tell you. And so he'll tell the scrum half, who's the person putting the ball in, and when he puts the ball in, he'll say, go, and they just get after it.
Yeah. Okay, so the ball comes out of the scrum, right?
Yep.
Okay, somebody picks it up, and they start running, right?
It depends. You can kick off it. I mean, we've got set plays. They can throw it to a teammate. They can start running. We've got this is where the nuances of the game really come in, and you'll see some really creative stuff. Okay,
and then 15 other guys on the other team are like Doberman pinchers with rabies. They're going to go get that guy.
Absolutely, and they're going to crush him.
Now, this sounds like a lot of fun. I'll bet you the parents are real tickled to have the kids come out for this sport.
You know what? Our parent support has just been amazing. I can't tell you, how many parents said I was really scared or I had a lot of reservations, and after they see the first match, they're like, that was amazing. Can't believe I'm so glad he came out.
Okay, now, you say there are fouls in this game. Now, I know what a foul is I've played a lot of basketball, and I know what fouls and penalties are in football. This sounds like mass confusion. How do you determine a foul?
It is, and, one of the things that we really try to stress to our players is, look, every ref has kind of the things that they look out for. So don't expect him to call a perfect game. Get used to what he's really looking out for and then adjust. You're right. There's so much going on. They can't even come close to calling every single foul.
Okay, so they get into the, pardon my lack of terminology, the end zone, and then that qualifies as a score, right?
Yes, it's the try zone. So you score a try. Yep.
Okay, how many points for that?
That's 5 points.
5 points. And how else can you score?
So after you score a try, there's a conversion kick, or like a point after in football. That's worth 2 points in rugby. So if you convert on both, it's 7 points. So the scoring is, pretty much the same.
Okay.
You can also have a penalty kick. Again, if you make that's 3 points, so it's kind of like a field goal. So the scoring is pretty similar.
Okay. So basically, how long are the game? Quarters, halves, whatever?
So in high school, we play 35-minute halves.
Okay. And then after they score, you go back to the good old scrum.
Actually, there'll be a kickoff.
Oh, okay.
So, there'll be a kickoff. Here's what's interesting, is that the team that scores actually gets the ball back again.
Now, that doesn't sound kosher.
No, so if you're in the defense, you're like, oh my goodness, we got to go back and do this again.
So it gives more incentive for the team that got scored on to go out and commit total mayhem on the other guy.
Absolutely. You want that ball. You want to control the ball in the game.
How many teams are there in southern Idaho?
So in southern Idaho, Pokey's got a team. There's us, Idaho Falls, Blackfoot.
Wow.
And then Rigby's got a team, so that's kind of eastern, not really southern, but yeah, that's kind of the eastern half.
Okay, well, I got to wrap things up here, kid, but I got to tell you, give everybody the time and where for this big game on Saturday.
You betcha. It's 1 o'clock this Saturday, and we'll be in the fields right across from the King Fine Arts Center here at the high school.
Now, are there tickets sold, or what's going to happen there?
Oh, no. We'll take everybody that can come on out. Just find a place. Hopefully the weather will cooperate, and have a lot of fun.
You got to promise me something that you'll come back and we'll discuss this at a greater length.
You betcha. I'd love to. Anything that we can do to further promote the sport.
All right. By the way, quickly, how did you get involved in it?
Well, so ages ago, I played intramurals at BYU Hawaii. And then I've got a son who's a sophomore, and he wanted to start playing, so we looked around. It's actually a combined team between us and Twin Falls.
Oh.
The Twin Falls side had been established, and so we just got this going between both cities.
So basically, equipment is minimal. A jock strap, shoes, and run like heck.
And a mouthpiece.
Okay.
There without a mouthpiece.
Okay. I love it. Burley High School rugby coach, Kit Kanakoa. Thank you. God bless you, man. Come back.
You too. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Wow. I don't know that much about rugby, but I think it's going to be fun. I want to go see that. That's going to be a kick. Oh, I got to pay a whole bunch of bills. I'm running so far behind. I enjoyed that, though. Don't forget Cutting Edge Curbing, 424 16th Street, and the number to call, 808-3360, Sarah and Mike Baxter. They will give you an estimate on curbing for your property that will add beauty and value. You can get the curbing in different styles, like the slant and the mower's edge and the square of the dome top, in different colors and different stamping. It's beautiful. Check it out today. Cutting Edge Curbing, 808-3360. Okay. Now, as I stumble along here trying to get everything taken care of, don't forget to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Holy cow, helping you to get back to being you. All you have to do to call for an appointment is call 678-1191. 678-1191. All the exercises, all the sports medicine, all the hydrotherapy pool exercise. Oh, I love that hydrotherapy pool. Oh, the jets in the water and everything. Oh, that's great. Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists serving you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Call 678-1191. How about some calls, folksies? Give me a jingle on the landline at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I would love to hear from you as I continue on my trail of trying to catch up with all my commercials. Tim Darrington's running for Cache County Commissioner, District 3, a man that's been involved, lifelong resident in farming and ranching, and is a fine, fine steward of the land. And he wants to protect our natural resources, land, air, and water, and yet provide good roads, safe environment, and a great quality of life in Cache County. He wants the best for citizens of Cache County now and for future generations. Vote for Tim Darrington, Cache County Commissioner, District 3, paid for by Darrington for Commissioner, Gail Erickson, Treasurer. And we have a gentleman that's running for the Twin Falls County Sheriff position, Cliff Katona, Republican candidate for Twin Falls County Sheriff, member of the Idaho State Police Association, and he was an Idaho State policeman for 19 years, and he wants the Sheriff's Department in Twin Falls to grow with Magic Valley, and he wants to be a visible sheriff in the community, addressing people's concerns. Don't forget, Cliff Katona for Twin Falls County Sheriff, paid for by the Katona for Twin Falls County Sheriff Committee, Jim Woolley, Chairman. All right, give us a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Whew, I enjoyed that with the rugby coach over at Burley High School. I don't know that much about rugby, believe me, but I enjoyed watching that game that one time in Park City. I mean, it's rough, and it's fast, and ferocious, and it should be a lot of fun. I am stunned at and I'm also amazed to some extent as to the gullibility and just plain, on this program I call it like I see it, stupidity of some of the American public. Gullibility and stupidity. Believing Hillary Clinton regarding her comments about literally killing the coal industry. Yeah. There are many people that, she didn't mean it that way. Or she was taken out of context. Or, in the heat of running a political battle and all the interviews and everything, she may have gotten mixed up a little bit. That is a bunch of barnyard fecal material. It's absolutely not true. She had said, we're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business. That's a direct quote. And to come back and say, it was a misstatement and it was taken totally out of context from what I meant. And now many of the liberal left, and even some that are straddling the fence and have no idea where they stand politically, are buying this. What are your thoughts about Hillary? And it goes on. It goes on and on every day. This woman is absolutely not to be trusted. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, tomorrow, Saturday, the entire gift shop at Mad River Laser in Rupert is on sale. I mean, free engraving, free embroidery, door prizes. Holy cow, get Mother's Day presents. It's gonna be a blast. Hello, Nicole and the rest of the crew at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert on the square. Mad River Laser's Mother's Day sale going on right now. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away, I promise. I got overextended on time, and I got to get myself out of this hole. I'll be right there. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental, 3 locations, South Lincoln and Jerome, West Highway 30 in Burley, and Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls. And they've got all the Bobcat equipment, special prices and great financing on rental units, skid steers, lots of rental equipment. I'll tell you what, they've got it all. Doosan loaders, Bobcats, Coyote tractors, Walker lawnmowers, the very best. All of this, they have the equipment to get the job done right at Barry Equipment and Rental, Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
How are you?
Pretty good. You know, this cliche that Bill Clinton used to use is, I do not recall.
Yeah.
And now that we have video and everything on it, so it's straightforward now. It's, I must have misspoken.
Uh-huh.
You know, how dumb does she think the American people are?
Well, evidently very. Evidently very, because like you said, and you stated it rather succinctly, with all the videotape and all the tweets and all the Twitters and everything else, she came out. I watched the speech, Keith. I watched it when it was happening, and she said, quite frankly, we're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business. And she said it with an enthusiasm and a smile and a vigor. And then when she was confronted by a young man by the name of Bo Copley, it was taken out of context, and, I was misunderstood. Ay.
You know, what's interesting in this, somebody needs to pin her down and say, okay, if you misspoke on this, what did you have in mind for these people?
Well, you know,
what are you going to do to get them another job?
Okay, Keith, right there, stop. Because what your point is, it's very well taken. What are these people going to do? How are they going to pay their mortgage? How are they going to pay their rent, put food on the table, buy shoes for the kids in that respective area? They can't even hardly live there anymore. The communities will dry up. They're going to be forced to leave. They're going to be forced to sell their property at maybe 5 cents on the dollar. This is a disaster.
Well, it's not only the miners. What about the merchants?
That's what I said, the communities.
What about all these other people that it affects? You know, it sounds to me like the last man out of town turns out the lights.
Well, and that is exactly what's going to happen. You know, politicians can destroy neighborhoods with just 1 or 2 sound bites on the news at 6 o'clock at night. In this case, excuse me, in this case, Hillary Clinton is destroying an entire state's economy.
Well, that's certainly true. And I know on Donald Trump, he gets more for less. And if he can do that with this country, I'm all for it.
Well, we have got to unite, and we cannot in any way, shape, or form, or dream, or whatever have Hillary Clinton ever set her foot in the White House. Please, no. Audience, wake up.
You know, what can we do here in Idaho where we're not represented very well here in this United States? We're just back there. A lot of people have never even heard of Idaho.
Well, wait a minute. You've got relatives in other states, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, call them. Call them on the phone and tell them the seriousness of not letting Hillary in the White House. Call them all. Call your friends in other states. Tell them how serious it is. Start a chain reaction going all over the United States. That's what I'm going to do. I've got some, I hate to admit it, but some liberal family members back in Wisconsin. I'm going to try to have them see the light. I'm going to send them a flashlight.
Well, the point I'm trying to make is if everybody in Idaho voted for Trump, we still won't be able to outdo California, Texas, and New York.
Yeah, but that's where the Electoral College representation comes in, Keith, and that's why I'm adamantly in favor of it. I got to get a commercial break in, buddy. Thank you so much.
You have a good day.
All right, sir. Don't forget, re-elect Jay Heward for Cassia County Sheriff. Born and raised in Burley, went to Burley High School, Idaho State University, and has been in police work for 36 years. He's got a knowledge of the job through experience and hard work. And the Cassia County Emergency Manager, Jay, knows what to do. He knows his job and his constitutional responsibilities. Jay Heward, a sheriff you can depend on in any circumstance. Vote May 17th to re-elect Jay Heward, Cassia County Sheriff, paid for by the committee to re-elect Jay Heward, Steve Westfall, Treasurer. By the way, too, don't forget, if you're having any problems with your hearing, I would heartily suggest that you get a hold of Mount Harrison Audiology. And the number to call, 312-0957. I'll say it again, 312-0957. Wonderful Dr. Christine Pickup, and she knows all about hearing, all about sound, all about the problems, all about what might be causing them. Please take my advice. Call her today. 312-0957. Right across from the Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room, Mount Harrison Audiology. Oh, give me a call, please. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Who's going to be the vice president with Donald Trump? There are many, many names floating out there today. I have a list that was sent to me early this morning from my dear friends back in Washington, D.C. at the Daily Caller. Some of them I like better than some of the more prominent names, and I'll go through that list here with you in just a minute. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, and of course all the Lennox home comfort systems, gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps, etc. You and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Good morning, caller.
Well, speaking of, a city getting hit, I don't know if you're aware of it, but the Pacific Iron and Steel here in Burley is being closed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, there's maybe 8-10 guys there that are displaced, and some of them are actually going to be out of work. And just an example of why this is happening. Now, this is just from me going down there all the time, because I'm always in there. And I've gotten to know these guys because I work with them. And for instance, if they had a refrigerator up on a recycling pile and it didn't have a tag on it, they would be fined $27,000 to $38,000, depending. I can't remember exactly which figure, but either one of them is just totally criminal to do something like that. Even if the paperwork was sitting on the desk that identified each one as a serial number, model number, even if they had the paperwork on the desk, if they didn't have a tag on it up there, they would fine them. And this has happened. Pacific, not here in this one, but throughout their organization.
Yeah.
And then the Chinese dumping metal on the market. I mean, there was a time when you'd go in there and take metal back and take metal in and get a pretty fair check.
Yeah.
Cash, whatever. And now it's just terrible.
Well, okay, stop. Whoa, Randy. Wait a minute, stop. I've got to interrupt you because I got to get in here and we got to make some quick time here. What you're saying is exactly the scenario that's been going on in this country for decades. The elimination of our jobs, the elimination of our progress, the elimination of the American dream. And you know what? Whether it's Pacific or whether it's the coal miners, it's time to stand up and say enough is enough. It's time to get really in a revolt attitude and show that attitude in November and throw the bums out and let's start over and rebuild.
Well, we've got to, and it's like you say, whoever, Keith said something, I don't remember, and then he said, how stupid are the people? Well, I'm going to tell you, there's way too many that don't care at all.
That's
They're
right.
distracted by everything but what matters. They know everything on that phone, but what matters? And yesterday, Keith brought up the fact that he had a friend in Price, Utah, where they had a coal mine and a coal-fired power plant, if I'm not mistaken. And they're shutting that down. And like Keith said yesterday, he had a friend that was a car dealer down there, and he's done.
Yeah.
And Price is done. And I don't know how many people live in Price, Utah, but I say, what kind of a situation is this?
Yeah. We have got a point in this country where we got to draw a line in the sand right now, right this very day, and we cannot tolerate another 4 years extended time of Obama's absolutely sick, pathetic ideology that is killing this country and will change this country from capitalism to socialism and absolute government control. I absolutely adhere to the fact that anytime the government tells you to do something, we should turn around and say, bet me, buddy.
Well, that's the thing. A government of the people, by the people, for the people won't work if the people don't care.
We've lost our voice. We've lost our voice. And we've lost politicians. And I'll say this. We have lost our politicians that have backbones and spines. I have said this many times on my program. I'm going to say it again. The people that we have running our state of Idaho, I have a lot of respect for because they stand up for what they think the job should be done. And I admire them. But on a national level, I'm going to say our senators and congressmen from all 50 states absolutely have lost sight of the fact that they represent the people.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's just like you go back there, you don't know what's going on. You weren't capable of understanding it.
Yeah.
You can, whatever you are.
Yeah.
And they get away with it, Zeb. And it's like, I don't know. You can't even trust them.
I got to go, Randy, but I appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Thanks. Hey, don't forget Mother's Day is coming up this Sunday. Yeah, that means I've got to go to the store today or tomorrow, and I got to get some things for Dan. I do. Don't forget to drift in at 545 F Street in Rupert. They're going to have a special Mother's Day menu of ribs, prime rib, finger steaks, butterfly shrimp, grilled salmon, chicken cordon bleu, and all kinds of special desserts. Make sure you make your reservations right now, 436-1300. The Drift Inn on the Square in Rupert. Along with the Book Plaza. Hello, Colonel Dale. How are you? Very special items for Mother's Day over there. All the books and all the precious moments and other figurines and all the music and cards. Oh, it's all your one-stop shopping right there with really nice people at the Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Stop in and see them today. Really good folks. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to tell you, I'm going to do the weather forecast here real quick, and then I want to go down the list. I'll do this list real quick. I want you to mull these names over. Here are some potential names that were laid out to the public early this morning for Donald Trump possibly to choose as a vice presidential hopeful. Chris Christie, I hope not. Joni Ernst, hey, that's not a bad idea. Jeff Sessions, Alabama Senator. I don't think that's a bad idea. Susana Martinez, governor of New Mexico. Another not bad idea. Newt Gingrich, no. Same old, same old. Mary Fallon, governor of Oklahoma. Not a bad thought. John Kasich, governor of Ohio. Are you kidding me? Please, no. Sarah Palin, no. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. Marco Rubio, no. Rick Scott, governor of Florida. I don't know. Scott Brown, absolutely not. Former Massachusetts senator, no. Ben Carson, he should be the head of health, education, and welfare. Rudy Giuliani, he should be the head of Homeland Security. I'll go over those names more. You give me a call, but right now I've got to get the weather on in here. And the weather is brought to you by the Urgent Cares in Jerome, Twin Falls, and Burley. Riverview Urgent Care at 382 North Overland, Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Minor emergencies, major care, and no appointments necessary. Right now, here is Gina with the weather.
We're going to see some sun today, but it's also going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the southeast at 16 miles an hour, partly cloudy. High of 81 is what we're expecting. Tonight, low of 52. Now, tomorrow, as we head on into the weekend, we are having a storm system move through. Expecting afternoon thunderstorms and rain showers. Going to continue to be windy out of the east, right around 18 miles an hour. Tomorrow, high of 72. Tomorrow night, low of 49. More thunder showers are in the forecast for Saturday, high of 66. And pretty much the same for Sunday with a high of 70. And then for Monday, it's going to be partly cloudy and very windy with a high of 66. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it. Kyle James and his staff at all three locations doing a wonderful job for you. Once again, Riverview Urgent Care of Jerome, and Urgent Care in Twin Falls. As I've stated, no appointments necessary. Walk in and be treated. Minor emergencies, major care. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. I also want to remind everybody about Mini-Cash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley. Hello, Zach. How you doing? All your lumber for your remodeling. Oh, my goodness. And they've got all the shingles, metal or asphalt for your new roof. They've got it all for you, and knowledge and the people that can help you. So stop over and see them today. Mini-Cash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, the sponsor of Dr. History on Tuesdays. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, there's one name that I didn't hear on that list, and that's Ron Paul. You know, if you wanted to put someone in the VP position that you know that the establishment is going to remove the president to get into power, it'd have to be Ron Paul, because he's just as disliked as Donald Trump is on the Republican side. So that's just my suggestion.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, you've got a right to your opinion, good, bad, or indifferent. Thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Chris Christie, never going to float. That boat won't float. Governor of New Jersey, there's other parts of the administration where he could go. Now, Joni Ernst is interesting, Iowa senator. This lady absolutely has a lot of class. She has a lot of military experience, and she hails from a swing state, and she's very well liked on Capitol Hill. Jeff Sessions, Alabama senator. You know, he was the first senator to endorse Trump, and believe me, he is a low-key personality, and he could help a lot as far as being the VP. Now, there's another lady in the fray here, Susana Martinez, governor of New Mexico, and she has been mentioned many, many times as bringing the Hispanic voters over to the Republican Party. Newt Gingrich, come on. The same old, same old. I don't think that this administration should even, I should say potential administration for Donald Trump, should even think about going back into the archives and digging up someone like Newt Gingrich. Mary Fallon, governor of Oklahoma, and she is very open to serving as vice president, and she's very, very well liked and respected. Then we go to John Kasich. Oh, come on, please. Am I wrong that this guy, with his kind of a surly, hey, what about me attitude, is, it would never work. They would have to build separate wings with a wall, like between Mexico and the United States, to keep Kasich and Trump apart. That's a no-no. Sarah Palin. I don't know. Sarah is a great gal, and she's done a lot to help further not only her politics, but the Republican Party. I just don't think that she'd be liked. Marco Rubio, again, no. Rick Scott of Florida. Florida's a very important state, but I'd say no. Scott Brown, former Massachusetts senator. I've listened to the guy on TV many, many times, and I just don't think he's the brightest bulb in the fixture. Now, these other two guys, Ben Carson and Rudy Giuliani, absolutely should be incorporated into any administration with their knowledge and ability, but not as vice president. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Earl. I read something last night underneath the bottle cap, and it says, luck is the residue of hard work.
Okay.
It made a heck of a lot of sense to me.
Hey, Earl, I got to ask you one question. What in the world are you doing spending your time reading bottle caps?
Well, I come in from from work and mixed some Clemata juice with some Cerveza and just happened to look under the bottle cap and went, this can't be all bad.
Now, I want to ask you, I've got to ask you, though, Earl, what time of the day normally do you show up to have this little imbibement at your house so that I can arrange a visit to your location?
Just about, I think it was about 8:30, about the time the sun was going over the hill here.
Well, you got to keep in mind, Earl, that I get up at 3:45, so 8:30 is out of the question. You're going to have to change your schedule.
Well, you beat me by 15 minutes. I got to get up. Well, that's about right for me because I get up about 3:45 so I can watch the ag program or the farm report in the morning.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. You've created a new sense of reading for me. I'm going to enhance my reading skills by opening up bottle caps and seeing what they have to say.
Well, when you come up, I'll hand you a stubby and you can read your own.
Okay, Earl, God bless you, man. Thanks.
See you, Dad.
All right, thank you. Well, now, there we go. We're going to start bottle cap reading. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, by the way, tonight's the Minidoka County Republicans meet and greet at the Wilson Theater, and it starts at 6 o'clock with the meet and greet where you go up, shake hands, glad hand everybody. How you doing? I want your vote type thing. That's tonight at the Wilson Theater in Rupert. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I don't like this man, and I've never, ever met him. I don't want to meet him. Extremely liberal mayor of New York City, Bill de Blasio. Bill de Blasio has, in effect, as mayor of New York City, he has taken all that is good, all that is moral, all that is family, and turned it upside down on its head with his absolutely repulsive liberal rants and his edicts. Now, this guy comes, listen closely to this. Bill de Blasio has come out and said, New Yorkers, don't you dare go eat at Chick-fil-A. Hold on, caller, I'll be right there. He said, don't eat at Chick-fil-A because that food entrepreneurship promotes hate against the LGBT. What right does this man have to speak out against a company that has a morality, a company that has a family compassion, and a family that has biblical virtues? And Bill de Blasio is a jerk for saying what he said. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
Well, I've had an interesting morning, Dougie.
Well, I've been awfully busy. I just caught bits and pieces of it.
Oh, okay.
But what I called about was about, I feel sorry for our country. I pray for our country, and because the kids that are coming up to rule the country cannot handle constructive criticism.
No, that's true.
And when they get out into the real world from these college campuses, which is like basically daycare that costs thousands and thousands of dollars, and they get out in the real world and have to start dealing with real problems, they won't have the skill set to do it.
Oh, well, wait a minute. You know what it all ties back into, Doug? Honestly, and you've hit the nail on the head here. It all goes back to this stupid, insane, absolutely loser's mentality of, oh, well, we're all winners. Everybody gets a trophy. Nobody's going to criticize anybody because we all love each other. That's the problem, Doug.
Exactly. When you don't keep score, how do you know who's winning?
That's right. And it's not necessarily on the athletic field or court. It's in life, too.
Exactly. It's exactly. And de Blasio back there, they preach intolerance and preach intolerance. So why can't they be tolerant of a family that believes in God and believes in the Bible?
Absolutely, and I'm just going to come right out and blatantly say it. I believe in the Bible. I believe in God, and I believe in Jesus Christ. And I believe that what's in the Bible is absolutely what must be obeyed and adhered to. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I think in Acts chapter 5, verse 29, it says that we must obey God rather than any human authority.
Exactly. God's law trumps man's law every day.
Absolutely. You know, I feel pity for some of these people, like Bill de Blasio, but hopefully they will go away. Speaking of going away, I got to get ready for a commercial here, Doug. God bless you, man. Have a good day.
Hey, now don't use that oxymoron again, saying you got to run to commercial.
Yeah, it doesn't work, does it?
God bless.
All right, see you later. Hey, don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Wow. I mean, the service is extraordinary. They come running out the door. May we help you? I mean, boy, they're there at a high lope saying, yep, we can help you. And whether you're looking for tires, they've got all your tires, and many of which are on sale right now for spring and summertime travel. And they've got a great free pre-trip safety check. Ask them about it. And then, of course, all the batteries and all the front end alignment, shocks and struts, and the best in brake service, bar none. You stop in and see them today because, boy, you're going to be tickled you did. They are absolutely the best. Underline it and highlight it. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, and Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, my buddy Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're going to take a little break. Wheels has got this good word, and then we're going to go to CBS News. Okay. Where's the sunshine? Doggone it. It was supposed to show up this morning. Anyway, Zeb at the Ranch, thank you very much. I'm Zeb Bell, as you probably are aware of, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
I cannot say enough about the great service of Western Waste Services. I know, I'm prejudiced because they've been treating me very, very well over the years. Well, they do that with all their customers. Always at your disposal. Get on the route service, have your garbage picked up, say goodbye to it, wave as the truck drives off. Great people, great service. Western Waste Services. Always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. Really good folks. All right, let's take a look and see where we're at here before we get our guest on the air. I know Kay is sitting over there waiting, but I want to remind everybody that Scott Yates is running for the position of Cassia County Sheriff. And he's not part of the establishment, and he says, I want to get in there and serve the public and represent all the residents of Cassia County. And he has a different equation for equality. Less crimes, less people in jail equals a more productive community. So don't forget on May 17th, Scott Yates running for the position of Cassia County Sheriff. Scott Yates for Cassia County Sheriff Committee. Treasurer Julie Jaime. I had something else real quick I need to talk to you about. Oh, yeah, don't forget Vicky's Country Garden. Every Monday, we have Vicky's Country Garden get on the air with us at 185 South 600 West of Paul with a show called Gardening for Idiots. Yeah, you're way ahead of me. That's named after me. I am getting better, and we ask all kinds of questions about how does your garden grow. Don't forget to tune in 9:16 on Mondays, Vicky's Country Garden, right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Oh, good morning, Kay Cameron. How art thou?
I am good. It's a beautiful day. I love springtime.
Well, I do too, but I got to ask you first and foremost this morning, how did your ladies' event go?
Oh, it was was fabulous. The ladies all had a great time. We had a fabulous turnout. It was spectacular. So everybody who came out and supported us, I hope you had a great time. And thank you. We had a lot of great feedback.
Oh, that is fantastic, Kay. Now that you've got that one etched away for this year, what is looming on the horizon?
Summer vacation, and all of the fabulous things that come along with it. We're just gearing up for summer, and all of the tourists and all of our fabulous events, and something to look forward to.
You know, I just wonder how many calls you get from around the United States or people that are coming in as tourists from foreign countries that really don't know about our climate, really don't know about all the scenic beauty. Do you have to go through and explain it almost every day, 24/7?
Well, I don't know about 24/7, but yeah, we get calls all the time. Yes, I mean, people come from all over, and it's just fun to be a part of this.
And they come by, and do you have kind of a tourist log there so that you can kind of review who they are and where they're from?
We do. We have a sign-in sheet, but we also try to interact with everybody who comes into our office so that we can ask them.
Okay.
You know, where are you from? What are you doing here? And get that information. And we have kind of a tally sheet that we keep here. It's not perfect. We know that it's not perfect, but we do our best to kind of keep track of that and to give us an idea of where the people are coming from and about how many people per month are coming here.
Wow. And are the numbers always increasing from year to year if you do a little research on that?
Yes, they are. And, you know, we also know that this time of year, you know, as it warms up, we see more and more people, too. So, yeah, there's just so many people out and about. And of course, when you have lower gas prices, you see more travelers.
That's right.
So that always has an impact as well. That does really, truly happen.
Absolutely. Now, is there anything in particular you want to mention this morning, or are we both going to sit there and look out the window at the ducks?
Well, it's a beautiful day to do that. I don't even see the leaves rustling in the breeze. So, but this weekend, there's always tons of stuff to do. So go to our website, check it out, minicasuchamber.com, click on the event calendar. But Saturday, if you're looking for something for the kids, there is a Cinco de Mayo celebration at the CSI Gymnasium. They have all kinds of fun games and activities and fun stuff. I know I've taken my kids before. It's a great time. Saturday's Warrior starts over in Rupert at the Wilson Theater, and so they've got shows this tonight and tomorrow, or Friday and Saturday night, and then again Monday, and a couple more coming up. So that's going to be a great show. There's motocross races over to the Minidoka County Fairgrounds. There's a rabbit show. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Oh, my. And all they have to do is contact the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, give us a call at 208-679-4793. Come and see us. We're located at 1177 7th Street on the beautiful Snake River. Find us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and like I said, go to our event calendar on our website to see all of the things going on.
All right. Kay Cameron, as of every Thursday, thank you for a job well done. Have a great week.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce and the director, Kay Cameron, thank you very much. Okay, I need to get another ad in here real quick, or two or three. Don't forget, where in the world did I put it? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, what you're hearing is a little dead air until old Zebra gets everything put back together again and finds his ad. And now, just as if it never disappeared, don't forget to vote for Tommy Hutchison for Cassia County Commissioner, District 3. Tommy wants your vote on May 17th for the Cassia County Commissioner, District 3. Tommy's a straight shooter and tells it like it is, businessman that wants better for Cassia County residents. And he says changes are needed for everyone to enjoy and pursue a better life in Cassia County. And Tommy's a hard worker. He'll work for you. Tommy Hutchison for District 3 Cassia County Commissioner, paid for by Hutchison for Commissioner, Don Frazier Treasurer. There you go. I finally found him. The lost is found right here on my program this morning. While I have just a moment here, I also want to remind you about some really, really dear friends of ours at Hanson Mortuary with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff, and they absolutely are committed to working and serving families that have just absolutely had the death of a loved one, and you don't know what to do. You don't know who to turn to. You don't know how to get everything organized and finalized. They can help, and they will help. All you have to do is call 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Once again, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Really nice people serving you. I've got time for a call or two. Give me a jingle on the landline. And, oh, by the way, I don't know if you heard this story or not, but this just shows. Wheels, did you just say something?
I did not, sir.
Well, why not?
Would you like me to?
No, you just did.
What's the subject you're talking about?
No, I thought you had your mic on and I heard you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you from your sleep. Go ahead, fluff your pillow and go back to sleep.
Fine. I just took care of a call because someone was going to talk to Kay, but then you guys had to end it. And so I was just kind of listening closely about what you were going to talk about.
All right, well, go back to sleep. I'll wake you when I need you. Okay, thank you. Hey, don't forget, this is nuts. The Department of Justice. Listen closely to this because this tells you what kind of a mamby-pamby, little pink sheet society we're living in. The Department of Justice has said it will not call people felons or convicts anymore because it hurts their feelings. I feel so bad for them. An official with the Department of Justice said the agency will no longer call people felons or convicts after they've been released from prison because it's too hard on them emotionally. This is garbage. That's what they are. They were convicted felons, and they should be called as such. You know, even the president, if you wish to call him that, President Barack Obama announced in 2015 that federal agencies would no longer ask if people were felons in the early job application steps. Are you kidding me? That just shows you what kind of a warped mentality of liberalism that is sick like the flu and pervading itself all over America. The new policy statement replaces unnecessarily disparaging labels with terms like a person who committed a crime or an individual who was incarcerated. It might hurt their feelings. Oh, for Pete's sakes. What kind of a mamby-pamby society? John Wayne, come back from the dead, please. And take Sheriff Joe Arpaio and clean up this mess. Ay, ay, ay. Calls welcome 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Mother's Day is this Sunday, and the Goodie Shop at 133 West Main in Burley says, treat mom to a goodie basket. Build your own or select one that's already made up. And they've got the special Mother's Day mugs, too, filled with candy kisses and brownie treats and cookies and all kinds of stuff. You're going to love the Goodie Shop, helping you celebrate Mother's Day at 133 West Main in Burley, 647-0106. And also celebrating Mother's Day and wishing everybody a happy Mother's Day, Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. The number to call Jeff and the crew, 678-3101. They wish all the moms a very happy Mother's Day and tell all the farmers they've got their irrigation needs right there at Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley, 678-3101. You know, it is Mother's Day this weekend, And I get a little teary-eyed and emotional because my mom is no longer with us. But for those of you that still have your moms, and I pity kids, whether they're kids or grown adults, that do not celebrate, embrace, and absolutely hold in the highest esteem their mothers. There is no excuse for any child, whether they are in their teens or 40s, 50s, whatever, not to take the time and effort to call their mom if she's out of the area, wish her a very happy Mother's Day, send her a card, send her a gift, or if she's lucky enough to be within driving distance, go pick her up, take her to lunch, spend the day with her. Love your mother. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind everybody to go vote on May 17th. It's primary election day, and on behalf of Senator Kelly Anthon, Representative Fred Wood, and Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, go... Excuse me, I lost my voice for a minute. Spring with the hay fever and everything, I'm sorry. Anyway, go vote on the May 17th. That is where you can show that you are a patriot and a very proud American. Don't forget, too, to take your picture ID. It's the responsibility of everybody to show your picture ID and be proud of who you are when you vote. Paid for by Senator Kelly Anthon, Representative Fred Wood, and House Speaker Scott Bedke. Absolutely, I urge you to go do that. I told you earlier, by the way, Nicole is a very good friend of ours over at Mad River Laser, and she and her store, Mad River Laser, right on the square on Rupert at 502 East Street, they started it today, and it started at 9 o'clock this morning, I believe, and holy cow, they're having a whole entire gift shop on sale today. Yeah, everything. I mean, today, tomorrow, and Saturday. You don't want to miss it, so get on over there, and free engraving, free embroidery, door prizes, and special gifts for Mother's Day, like those wooden spoons. They are really, really neat. Get one of those at 502 East Street in Rupert. Big sale, 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Saturday at Mad River Laser in Rupert. Nice people over there, I'll guarantee it. All right, give us a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Now, remember, don't call any of those felons. Don't call any of those axe murderers criminals. It might hurt their feelings. Oh, I feel so bad for them. Don't forget, too, the 2016 Mini-Cassia Relay for Life. It's going to be 11 to 11. Those are the hours, June 18th at the Burley Football Field. One day to help others. And the theme for the 2016 Mini-Cassia Relay for Life, may the cure be with you. We're going to have a lot more on that in the weeks to come. So don't forget, the Relay for Life for 2016. Wow. We're getting ready to go to Ken Mort in just a moment. I want to remind everybody, too, about Let's Ride. If you think I'm not busy here this morning, you ought to be inside this studio. It's like a Texas tornado going on. Let's ride. Let's ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. My goodness sakes, they've got four-wheelers all over the place. Open the door, walk inside, and you're going to say, well, Zeb was right. Look at this. It's amazing. This is where the fun is sold. True, they've got Suzuki's at 0% financing right now, and they've got all your watercraft, and they've got all the accessories, and they've got a fantabulous service department. May I ask you a question? What are you waiting for? Get over there today. Let's ride 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world, where the fun is sold. Really, really good people. Well, in just a moment, as I said, we're going to go to our dear friends at, who in the heck are we going to go to? Oh, yeah, Ken Mort's going to be on the air. And so stand by for that. When you think about life insurance, think about Cameron and Siemens. When you think about health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, for your protection, your business protection, and your home protection, it's all there at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. I would heartily suggest you give them a call, make an appointment today. They are accessible and devoted to serving you. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, 436-4424. Holy mackerel, where'd all these dogs come from anyway? I got a dachshund over here. I've got a collie over here, and get that Shih Tzu out of here. Okay, good morning, Ken Mort, Minidoka Animal Control. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Last week, when we gathered around the microphone, you were on your way to Dillon, Montana.
Yes, I was. Matter of fact, I hit snow when I got close to Lima.
No kidding?
Yeah, it was snowing up there. It wasn't sticking to the ground, but it was snowing.
And you had like 27 dogs with you.
Well, only 14.
Oh, 14. And they were all in synchronized singing in the background.
Well, they were trying, but then they wound up going to sleep after we got off the air.
Okay. All right. Well, now tell us, what is the featured puppy dog for this week?
Actually, I've got a couple of them I'm going to feature today. I'm going to feature Cookie.
Cookie?
She's a little tan and white Chihuahua cross. She's about 3 to 4 years old. A really nice dog after she warms up to you and likes being in your lap. Seems to be house trained. She doesn't like to go in her kennel unless she absolutely has to. She'd rather go outside. She's great with other small dogs. And if anybody's interested in her, they can contact us at 438-2200, 670-7268, or 670-4348.
Okay.
And also, on the other one is Olive.
Okay, hold on a second, Ken. Have Wheels turn you up in my headset a little bit, or turn your mic up, because you're not coming through that good.
How about now?
Oh, much better. Go ahead.
Okay, Olive is another female Chihuahua. She's about 3 to 4 years old. She is also tan and white. She is scared, and needs whoever goes to handle her needs to do slow movements and everything and calming until she gets to know you. Once she gets to know you, she's just a lover. And is believed to be house-trained as well.
Wait, whoa. The word believed to be house-trained, one must know, don't you say?
Well, they don't really like to go in their kennel unless they absolutely have to.
I see.
When we normally take them out, we've got a little area that we can put them in so that they don't have the entire yard to run, especially where they've been on the skittish side and not real socialized with a lot of people. We put them in this small kennel area and outside so they can do their business and get a little exercise. And they'll do all their business out there, but then we bring them back in. Sometimes and stuff, and they just can't hold it and wind up having an accident inside their kennel. But most of the time they'll wait until we take them outside.
Okay. Now, both of these dogs you said are Chihuahuas?
Yes, they are. They're Chihuahua crosses.
Okay, one is named Cookie, and the other one is named Olive.
Yes.
Okay.
And we actually had a third one that came in with them. They were actually dropped off at our facility last week. Matter of fact, it was last Thursday that we found them just before I left to go to Dillon. That we're in our drop-off kennels. They were basically owner surrendered. And the third one, his name is Pai.
Whoa. Excuse me. Here is a big, tough, former veteran, now Minidoka Animal Control, and you have the audacity to get on the radio where everybody can hear you say the dog's name is Pai?
Yep. Popeye the Sailor Man.
Oh, Popeye! I thought you said Pai.
No, Popeye.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
He's also a Chihuahua cross, and that's 3 to 4 years old. And he is a major lover. Once he gets to know you, he just likes to cuddle and be loved on. It only takes just a few minutes for him to get used to you, and then you're his friend for life.
So,
if he's interested in any of these dogs, they can reach us at 438-2200. Reach me on my cell phone at 670-7268, or Deb Hines with Hayburn Animal Control at 670-4348.
How come you got so doggone many Chihuahuas?
Well, it just happens to seem to be that time of year.
Oh. You mean there's a special time of the year for Chihuahuas?
Actually, you'd be surprised, and we've looked at a lot of our statistics, and it almost seems like since I've been doing this job that during certain months of the year we get like black labs. Other certain times of the year, we'll get pit bulls. Then other times and stuff and that, we'll wind up getting Chihuahuas or Shih Tzus and that small dogs.
I'm always scared to use that name on the radio.
Well, the way it's spelled and stuff and that's nowhere near the other way.
I know. Yeah. Now, but really, you've kept records on these, and certain times of the year are more prevalent for getting certain breeds of dogs.
Yes, it is. Because we started tracking this stuff because one of the rescues we work with, they like to apply for grants that they turn around and get and are able to help us out and other outfits out. And when they go to apply for these grants, they got to have information when applying for them. So we started tracking all of our intake, announced by breed, sex, age, things like that. And they actually have to have all that information to include what area they come from and things like that.
Holy cow.
So we started doing that, and with being able to do that, we're actually able to determine and stuff and that significant little factors of times of years when certain breeds like to come in.
You're getting way too technical for me. What about Doberman Pinschers?
We've only gotten one of them in the 3.5 years I've been doing this job, and it was actually running at large. Was brought in by an individual, and the owner came that very next day and bailed it out.
I see. And as Minidoka Animal Control, if all of a sudden somebody said, we got a Doberman in an alley over here, I don't want your job.
Actually, I've never had really any kind of a issue with the Doberman. Most of my issues have been with the little Chihuahuas or the little Pomeranians, the little ankle biters. They're the ones that like to act like they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof when they're about the size of a football. And
okay, well, I want to tell you what a great job you do, and I really am interested in this segment every week. Ken Mort, better known as Kennel Ken, Minidoka Animal Control. Ken, God bless you, man, and have yourself a wonderful week gathering up all the Chihuahuas.
Roger that, and just remember, I will not be here next week. I will be in Vegas for the Animal Care Expo, getting some additional training for my job.
Why can't you call us from down in Vegas so that we can have an on-the-scene report?
Well, that would be fun, but at the time I'll be calling in and stuff, and it'll be actually in a workshop.
Oh, you and your workshops. All right, Ken, have a good one, buddy. Thanks.
You too.
All right, take care. Where'd all these dogs come from anyway, for Pete's sakes? They're all over the place. Ken Moore, Animal Control for Minidoka County, and we say thank you. He does a wonderful job. I give him a hard time, but man, he's really devoted to his job. By the way, I also want to remind you that Jerome County Sheriff Doug McFall is running for re-election on May 17th, and he wants your vote. 39 years in law enforcement, 24 as an Idaho State Trooper, and Doug McFall was very instrumental in getting the new jail facility built in Jerome County. He has the experience, knowledge, and great ethics and a proven track record of achievements with a love for the job. Jerome County Sheriff Doug McFall, looking for your vote for re-election on May 17th, paid for by the McFall for Jerome County Sheriff Committee, Cinda Morgan, Treasurer. Right now, a lovely lady is waiting in the wings to come in and talk to us this morning about politics and everything else. Good morning, Rita Ramsey. How are you?
Good morning. I'm real good. How are you?
Well, you know what? I've got a picture in my mind's eye of maybe the Rita Ramsey that's a little snarly this morning over what's taking place in politics this week. What are your feelings?
Well, actually, we had a chance to elect someone who would take our country back towards the Constitution, and we found out that the conservatives are gone now, so all we have is a progressive America. That's what our future is going to be, Trump or Hillary.
I've got to put you on the spot because you and I are good friends, have been for many years, but you know we got to get right down to the basics. We have these two people, Trump and Hillary, probably a lot of people's not favorite choices, but after I've looked and analyzed what's going on, you, I think, will say that Trump would be far, far better than Hillary with the lies and the liberalism and the anti-energy and all the problems that she's involved in. She might not be around if she's elected president. She might be in a 12-by-12 cell.
Well, there's always that possibility, and that would be good. And if that's the case, then there would be somebody else we would have to worry about. However, We know what we're getting with Hillary. We still don't know what we're getting with Donald Trump because he waffles everywhere. I would hope that he would be better than Hillary. However, he was a Democrat before 2015, so we'll see.
You're avoiding giving me a direct answer, but I respect that, and I'm not going to pin you down. But what about for Trump in his possible administration? I named off last hour quite a few of the names that were sent to me this morning by a good friend of mine back in Washington, D.C., of some of the possible VP nominees. Have you given that any thought?
Well, I have, and there were a few of them. I thought Susana Martinez would have probably been a good choice. However, she's one of those governors that decided they couldn't do without the government money, and so she expanded her Medicaid and all of those things, and she has not been a conservative, and so for me to say that I think she would be good, I don't know. I think that would be so that they could try to pick up the Hispanic vote, of which Donald Trump has really, really damaged, and they're going to have to try to see if they can pull some of those folks in. But I don't know. I would like to see somebody, preferably Jeff Sessions, because he is a little bit more constitutional, and so I would prefer somebody like him.
Let me ask you this. First of all, let me do this. I will say that the negatives would be these people. Chris Christie? No. Newt Gingrich? Absolutely not. Because I don't think that you want to go back in history and try to rewrite it with the same old, same old. John Kasich? Absolutely not for vice president, because I think there'd be too much bickering. Marco Rubio? No. Rick Scott? No.
Okay,
and other.
I'm going to try to call him and see if I can get his call reestablished, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hang up the phone, kid.
Where you are calling is temporarily unavailable. Number you are calling is temporarily unavailable. Please try later.
I can't get through. What the heck's going on over there? All right, get that line open.
You are calling is temporarily unavailable.
Deanne, I can't get through.
Where you are calling is temporarily unavailable. Please try later. Number you are calling is temporarily unavailable. Please try later. Number you are calling is temporarily unavailable. Number you are calling is temporarily unavailable. Please try later. Number you are calling is temporarily. number you are calling is temporarily unavailable.
They're not answering.
All right, sir, I'll put you back.
All right, get me back on.
Okay.
I have no idea what happened with the phone lines, of which I'm not in the mood or temperament right now to probably discuss it, but we were in the middle of a very great conversation with Rita Ramsey, and I certainly hope and pray that Rita is still there. We spent 5 minutes trying to get back on an established phone line. Rita, good morning again, and I'm so sorry for going off the air.
Hello, no problem.
I can hardly hear her wheels. Turn her up. Rita, we were talking about Hillary Clinton, we were talking about VP choices, and we were right in the middle of who would be good, who would be bad. A name that came to mind that I was absolutely interested in was Iowa Senator Joni Ernst. What are your thoughts about her?
Well, I think she would be good. She's quite conservative, so I'd be surprised if they would have somebody like her in there with them. And with her experience in the Senate, which she only has just less than a term, they probably wouldn't. However, she is ultra-conservative, or that's how she ran, and I believe that she was. So I would be in favor of that. I would prefer somebody like Jeff Sessions because of his experience. And he has proven over the years that he's quite conservative in most arenas.
Now, I'm going to ask Wheels over at the station. Wheels, I'm not getting anything in the feed line. I can barely hear Rita like it's a whisper, so please, if there's some way to elevate that, let me know. Rita, what about the situation that we have in this country with the liberals basically blaming conservatives and Republicans in general for their attitude and actions, as far as like what they did in California and Seattle with the riots and other items of public discourse that are absolutely hateful? They want to burn, they want to loot, they want to cause all the problem, and they're blaming it on politicians and what they say at various rallies. That's a cop-out. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, that's just somebody's way of saying we have permission to do what we want to do instead of going by the rule of law. There is any politician who says anything should not incite people enough to do damage like that. They could be mad or boo them or whatever and walk away, but they never should be able to do anything that causes violence. So that's upon the people themselves, and it's nobody's fault for saying something.
In the news this morning, Rita, was Bill de Blasio of New York City, and this mayor, and I hesitate to give him that much esteem, has come out and said that all New Yorkers, they should listen to him and heed his call to not buy any food at Chick-fil-A because they have Christian values, family values, which are hurting the LGBT movement. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's quite childish for a mayor to call a boycott of something. So maybe we should have a boycott of New York and just invite the LGBT crowd, and everybody else and their money should stay away from New York. I wonder how you think about that.
Well, I've got to do a weather forecast, and I'm going to ask you, after all this, to stay on the line with me just a moment, Rita, if you would. I can barely hear you, so I'm going to have a weather forecast, and we'll come back with more. But right now, I'd like to remind everybody the weather brought to you by Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Right now, here's the weather with Gina.
We're going to see some sun today, but it's also going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the southeast at 16 miles an hour, partly cloudy. High of 81 is what we're expecting. Tonight, low of 52. Now, tomorrow, as we head on into the weekend, we are having a storm system move through. Expecting afternoon thunderstorms and rain showers. Going to continue to be windy out of the east, right around 18 miles an hour. Tomorrow, high of 72. Tomorrow night, low of 49. More thunder showers are in the forecast for Saturday, high of 66. And pretty much the same for Sunday with a high of 70. And then for Monday, it's going to be partly cloudy and very windy with a high of 66. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And I think she said that was the end of the weather. I'm barely getting anything, but I'll apologize for that. Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox home comfort systems. You call Ramsey Heating and Electric today, where they provide warm winters and cool summers, along with Lennox, Ramsey Heating and Electric. Rita, here we are in such a liberalized state in this country that we have to be so politically correct. We can't say such and such about such a group, or they might sue us or come after us. Now this morning, I just had a report on the news not too long ago that the Department of Justice is going to say no longer are we going to be allowed to call people felons or convicts because it's much too hard on them emotionally. What are your thoughts?
This is where the Department of Justice oversteps their boundaries. We have a First Amendment in the Constitution saying we can say whatever we want to say, and a judge cannot, or the Justice Department should not be able to put you in jail or file charges against you. The big problem is the Justice Department is delving into a lot of different things. Recently, they started delving into, well, we're going to start going after these people who are deniers of climate change, and what does that have to do with anything that the Justice Department should be affiliated with? So when they start saying that they're going to do this or that or the other, they forget that their one responsibility is to uphold the Constitution and the constitutional rights of the people of this country. And they're just going off in all kinds of different directions with stupid stuff.
Now, what about the change and transition in our society? You know, you look at the liberalized thought, you can't call anybody a felon anymore, you can't call them a criminal, you've got to clean it up because you have to be politically correct. Our whole society is based on political correctness. Our kids in the schools, you know, they come home and they criticize the parents for what their talk is over the dinner table. This whole thing has got completely out of hand, Rita.
Well, it really is, and it starts in our colleges, and the colleges start with really indoctrinating their students, which become teachers, and then the teachers have captive audiences starting at kindergarten, and they can treat them, say, well, this is what you do, and give them the whole agenda, and they'll start with, well, we have to do this and that and the other, so they're starting to be the green people, and then, we've got to have political correctness in our speech and everything else. And it's really sad because we've come down to a nation of a bunch of babies instead of just saying, you know what, you have the right to say that even though I disagree, and we'll just have to disagree on it. But instead it's like, well, I think I should call the correct police and ask them to come and arrest you for saying your own thoughts. And so it's really sad that we don't just call people out and say, you know what, you have a right to say what you want to say, and I have a right to say what I want to say, and we'll go different directions, and we can actually live in the same country together and get along without coming to blows.
But really, when you look at the problems that are being caused by the liberal attitude in this country, everybody gets a trophy, everybody's the same, et cetera, et cetera. They are always saying, well, we've got to have this, and you've got to conform to our way of thinking, and we don't like what you say, we don't like what you think, we don't like you as a Christian, we don't like the biblical philosophy, we're going to have to displace that and overcome it. What's the matter with the rest of us that we're not standing up and saying enough is enough?
Well, there's a lot of us who just figure, well, I won't have a confrontation, and you just kind of walk away. And then there's other people who will actually stand up to it, but they don't feel like that they have enough people behind them, so it's like, is it a futile, argument? But my thinking is, if people would say, you know what, the Constitution allows you to say whatever you want to say, it allows me to say what I want to say, as long as we don't cause damage to one or the other, or
just like, the saying, well, you can't yell fire in a full theater. So there are a few things there, but just to say what we want to say, we can't. But we have got to start taking a look at where our kids are learning this and straighten them out at home and help them to understand that those things that they're projecting, where they come from. Because as I've mentioned a number of times, political correctness started with Che and with not Che, but with the Chinese, who were communists, and they were trying to cut down on everybody's way of thinking and acting. And so it's like, if you say something that's not politically correct, we're going to throw you in jail or off with your head. And that just keeps continuing on, and it comes down through the liberal side, because they always think that theirs is the only way, and we should go with what they say, and people don't go up against them and say, no, we're not going to, and so here we are down that road of progressivism.
Let me ask you this, Rita, and you keep up on the news, you keep on what's happening around the globe, and especially here in the United States. With this political correctness kind of growing like a cancer in this country, if we don't stop this and start applying common sense back to our everyday lives, in 3 or 5 years, just how bad do you think this thing can be?
Bad, and the first bad is going to be whoever ends up on the Supreme Court to replace Scalia. If we don't have somebody that is mega constitutional and conservative, we are in big trouble, because we are just down the tube. Because right now we have just 3 really that are constitutional. One that's kind of like, I'll sit on the fence and go whatever way I want. But we lost a real constitutionalist, and we need to have another constitutionalist, and there are very few people that will fit that bill, but it will have to be somebody that's extremely conservative and constitutional to get things kind of back in balance.
All right, real quick, what's going on with the Tea Party, Rita?
Week from tonight, we're having a forum where we've invited the Minidoka and Cassia County candidates who are running for county commissioner to come to our meeting and have a Q&A and an introduction of what their forums are. And we'd invite everybody to come. And if any of you know the commissioners that are running and they haven't already called in, call them up and say, are you going to be at that meeting next Thursday night? I don't have all of them confirmed yet, but we're on our way.
All right. Anything else this morning? I apologize for some of the equipment failures, but I hope you understood. And is there any final thoughts that you have for us this morning, Rita Ramsey?
Yeah, I have one little statement. In 2008, we found out that the left could be won over by celebrity and hype. And now we know the right can be won also.
All right, and I always appreciate your comments. We may not agree on everything, but by golly, we'll have a good spirited debate, and then after it's all over, we'll still be friends and have you on next week. I'll look forward to it. Rita, thank you so much. Goodbye. Rita Ramsey, and I thank her very much. We're operating under kind of a crippling effect of one line here all of a sudden, and during the news, I'm going to try to reestablish. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, my line to the station went completely dead, and then when we tried to redial, it kept telling me that, I'm sorry, but the number you're dialing is not in service. Okay. Right now, I want to tell you a little bit about what's happening if you're hungry and starving to death, which I am right now more so than ever, and we're going to start our little tour of great places to go eat at Burgers, etc., 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. They've got corn dogs and burritos after 3 p.m. in the afternoon, 99 cents. Oh, my! You can have yourself a great eating experience. And don't forget, on Sunday, shrimp dinner special at the Burley store, and it's great. Great people serving you at Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. How about El Caporal at 610 North Overland in Burley? Oh, my goodness, whether it's lunch or dinner or drinks or parties or any celebration, be sure and include El Caporal in the place to go. They've got great menu choices. All the enchiladas and the tamales and the fajitos and the burritos. It's delicious, and they're going to be open on Mother's Day. Bring Mom come in for something special at El Caporal, 610 North Overland in Burley. And the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. The chicken fried steak sandwich. Oh my goodness, delicious with the fries and the special sauce and all the delicious shakes and the Farmer Brown burgers and the ranch burgers. If you haven't eaten there, you're in for a real treat at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Let's move over across the river right out of Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you like it. Oh, my goodness. They just celebrated not too long ago in April their 21st birthday, and they're serving you with great food and great people. Don't forget they've got the buffalo burgers made from buffalo meat, and they are delicious. And they've got a special kids menu, and they've got Steve-O's nacho fries topped with cheese and jalapeno peppers. All of this and more at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. And last but not least, Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh my goodness, you want a little bit of spice in your life, you stop by and check out the jalapeno and the Bandito burritos, and oh, it's delicious. Steak breakfast burrito in a newly remodeled atmosphere at Taco Bandito. And don't forget, they've got so many great menu choices. You're going to absolutely love it. And the folks, they're so friendly. Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. And those are just a few places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. What we are going to do right now is we're going to run it over to Wheels at our main studio, and we're going to cut this line off and reapply hopefully the original line will work again. And Wheels is going to have a good word for us, and then music up to CBS News. Wheels, take it away.
My name.
Oh, my. Welcome back. Wheels, how are we coming through now, my dear compadre?
Sir, you sound great.
Okay, if you could, is there any way you can maybe boost up the feed to me just a skosh, because it's still a little low, but I am tickled to death that we're back on our main line.
Yes,
Thank
sir,
you, Wheels.
Definitely.
All right, buddy. Hey, this is Bell Zeb at the ranch. We had a little problem last half hour, and we don't know why. Technically, it had to be something. I had a nice visit with Gino over the news. Had to be something with phone lines, or the lack thereof, during the last half hour, and we apologize. Don't forget, Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. Before we get into our next guest, I got to regroup everything here this morning. I want to remind you about Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, offering qualified Lennox home comfort system rebates on gas furnaces, air conditioners, and heat pumps. You and your family will enjoy the comfort. All you have to do is call 678-0459 and find out how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Absolutely. By the way, Clive Strong is running for Idaho Supreme Court Justice, and he would like your vote on May 17th. Clive Strong knows the issues that are important to Idaho and its future, whether it's water, timber, mining, grazing, and he has the experience necessary to make the right decisions for us. 33 years in the Attorney General's office, a longtime chief of the Natural Resources Division for the AG's office, and he has argued cases before the U.S. Supreme Court and the Idaho Supreme Court. Don't forget, on May 17th, vote for Clive Strong for Idaho Supreme Court Justice, paid for by former State Representative Bert Stevenson for Strong for Idaho Supreme Court. We, in just a few minutes, are going to have Cassia County School Days, and I'm really, really looking forward to that this morning. We've got a special guest that we had scheduled a couple of months ago, Jeff Roper, and he is from Declo High School, and we're going to get him on the air with us in just a very few moments. I want to take the time right now to acknowledge the fact that Cassia County School Days, we are blessed to have 2 two major businesses as our sponsor for the school days presentation on Thursdays. One is the Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they've got all the baby clothing, they've got all the baby furniture, and along with all the baby stuff, they've got all the games, the puzzles, and the toys, and the Cherokee and Dickey scrubs, too. All of this and much, much more at a Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Also, our thanks go out to the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley, our other great sponsor of Cassia County School Days. And for your outpatient surgeries, like your colonoscopies, foot surgeries, and, of course, eye and ear surgeries, call them today at 677-8888. And plus, they have the only machine in the Magic Valley that can correct glaucoma, and they always tell you that the doctors are going to serve you there. Take Regents Blue Shield Insurance at the Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland in Burley. Right now, let's go to the phone lines, and I believe on the line we have from Declo High School, English teacher Jeff Roper. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Thank you.
You know, it's a pleasure to have you back on the program, and I apologize. A couple of months ago, I guess it was, we had you scheduled, but we had to curtail that interview. So thank you. What's going on with your English class, and specifically about writing?
Well, a lot of the teachers, not just the English teachers, but a lot of the teachers in the Cassia district, and I would guess in almost all of the districts around the state, are using writing more than we used to. Science teachers are using more writing. History teachers are using more writing. Even our math teachers are incorporating more writing. Part of this has to do with our standards and the tests that the kids now have to pass. This new version of the ISAT test. I think a bigger part for me is that writing promotes an awful lot of thinking and promotes an awful lot of learning. And so I'm a proponent of frequent writing in lots of classes.
You know, Jeff, I'm going to say this subject matter, and I want you to agree with me or disagree. I'd like to hear your response. A lot of kids, I think, in school, from way back in my day in high school, when they circled the wagons at night till now, they sometimes feel inhibited about putting their thoughts down on paper and really expressing themselves for fear that they're going to be chastised for not using the proper grammar or correctness. Would you agree with that or not?
No, there's no question. There's a lot of fear involved when any of us has to put our thoughts down on paper. The grammar issue is always there. The spelling issue is always there. And then getting our ideas down in such a way that they truly express what we're thinking. It's very difficult. Even people who do this for a living find it. There's just no easy, simple way to do writing.
You know,
you're right.
When we say this, though, and the reason I'm bringing this up, and I was so glad to have you come on this program this morning, is I've been involved in the finalization of a book that I started a couple of years ago, and I'm just about ready to have it go to the printers, as a matter of fact. And one thing that was told to me a long time ago when I was putting my thoughts down on paper from another gentleman that had written about 12 books, and I really trusted his judgment, he said, don't worry about proper grammar, don't worry about everything being A-letter perfect, because he said that actually will act like a brake and slow your thoughts down to the point where you're more concerned about proper than you are really about the thought process.
You're right. When our seniors did their research papers this year, when we got to the part where after we'd spent probably a month compiling a lot of research, many sources, and a lot of note cards, and they sat down and started to write, I encouraged them, and I used a kind of metaphor that isn't really well anywhere. What I told them is to barf out a draft. Get a draft out that isn't correct. Move quickly. Not worry about grammar and spelling.
because it does, every sentence has to be perfect, you spend so much time revising as you go that you lose your train of thought. So some of my students follow that advice. Some of them didn't. They still work very slowly and methodically. But a lot of the writing that we do in classes today, might be called free writes or quick writes, where we just encourage kids to get their ideas down, try to build a coherent and well-developed, well-supported paragraph. Then we'll come back and look at grammar and come back and look at spelling.
Yeah, and the thing that I think you lose, and I don't mean to beleaguer this point, but I think it's very important because I can think back of my teacher in high school, Mr. Schubert. He was a stickler about the minute you wrote a sentence, if he caught anything wrong, he'd have you rewrite it. What you do to a child or a student at that juncture is you have them almost step on their own personality where they're so afraid they won't express themselves.
That is correct. That is correct. And, the tests that our kids are now having to pass, they have to deal with 3 or 4 or 5 detailed sources that have on a subject that they may or may not have any interest in, and then they have to write a coherent, multi-paragraph response. Their ideas and their ability to be logical and use the sources is much more important than their grammatical correctness or their spelling correctness.
I have said for a long time...
is shifting a little bit in that respect.
I agree. Jeff, I've said for a long time that if you write down your thoughts or you have a thought about whether it's a fictional story or whether it's a happening that took place in your life or your family, whatever, go ahead and write it. Just write it as it comes into your mind. Put it down on paper because eventually, as you get more progress in your writing skills, the grammar and everything else will seem to fall in place. Would you agree with that?
It does. Professional writers, and there aren't very many of those in this world, all started by doing exactly that. And the rest of us who aren't professional writers benefit a lot from simply getting our ideas down on paper. Ideas that are written out are a little different than ideas that are sort of just floating around in our brain.
Yeah.
They become, I tell my kids sometimes when we do quick writes, and I ask them what they wrote, a lot of times they'll want to paraphrase or they'll want to tell me about what they wrote, and I say, just read the words. The words on the page often are very, very powerful.
Let me ask you this.
Getting kids up, getting their courage up, and really that happens because I think it's happening more than it used to because we're doing so much. We're doing a lot of writing and a lot of classes.
See, you kind of answered my question right there. The next thing I wanted to ask you about was about today in your classes. As long as you've been teaching, have you seen a trend in writing in your class to where maybe it's more so today? Kids are easily led to let their feelings go down on paper more today than they were 10, 15 years ago. What are your thoughts about that?
I think kids are a little less afraid, and they're doing it so often that they're getting used to it. The thing that I've seen that I think, and I've been out at Drexel High School for 15 years, the thing that I see has changed here is kids are not as intimidated by difficult sources, difficult reading material. And that, I think, is because they've just been exposed to more of it. We're working with my seniors as they end their year, and we're ending with a couple or 3 difficult to read college-level sources. And there was a time several years ago when my seniors would have complained a lot. This particular group of seniors, even though they may struggle with those sources, they're not complaining. They're jumping in. So I think, and that the more kids read, the better their writing becomes as well. The more kids read a variety of things, not just the things that they would sort of gravitate to for enjoyment, but a variety. The more they read variety of material, the better writing they do.
Jeff, today I think that our society, and I'm guilty of it myself, I'll stand right up and raise my hand, we are highly critical of what you might call the millennial age bracket. And many of them are not responsible. Many of them have not been thrust into responsibility for anything in their lifestyle. What are you seeing with these kids in their writing? What are they wanting to write about? What are they talking about? Are they informed about current events? What's going on here?
Well, in general, I would argue against that. I see kids today as more mature and more informed and more capable than my peers were back in Burley High School in 1968. And I think even in comparing kids maybe 20 or 30 years ago. I think these kids are not as informed about current events as they should be, but that's always been the case with teenagers. I often think that really, I mean, it's partly on the school, obviously, but it really comes down to parents. I don't think parents are as informed from a variety of sources as they used to be.
I agree.
Our world is so complex. I think a lot of homes don't have the news on or are not exposing kids to current events from a wide variety of sources. So I'm not sure, but I really don't think this generation is a generation we should worry too much about. I think they're going to do remarkably well.
You know, I wish we had more time, but Jeff Roper, would you consent to coming back and we'll talk more about writing and kids today and current events and all this in the future if you'll come back? I'd appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I would love to.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Cassia County School Days, and we had a really nice visit, albeit too short, with Jeff Roper over at Decalo High School, English teacher, and talking about writing today. Of course, as you know, Cassia County School Days is brought to you by two wonderful businesses, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley and Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley. Thank you very much, Cassia County School Days. Before we get our next guest on the line, I want to remind you, Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. And next week on Thursday, we'll have Ryan on the air, next Thursday, with our Second Amendment. Don't forget, Red's Trading Post has all the firearms from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester, all the ammo, all the accessories, but above all, the top-notch people to help serve you at Red's Trading Post. 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. You stop in and see those good folks today. And don't forget, next week, of course, we'll have our Second Amendment right here on Zeb at the Ranch. I think at this time what we're going to do in our business salute, we're going to involve a wonderful lady on the program. I think she's down at the business right now, and it is Whitney Cheney of Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Are you there?
I'm still trying to get her on.
Okay, buddy, thank you. Wheels doing the yeoman's job this morning. While we're waiting for Wheels to get her on the phone, what I'll do is tell you quickly about Mad River Laser Mother's Day sale. It starts today and it goes all the way tomorrow and through Saturday. The entire gift shop at Mad River Laser is on sale. Yes, free engraving, free embroidery, door prizes, great mother's gift-giving ideas, all of this and more at Mad River Laser. Mother's Day sale, it started this morning at 9. It goes all the way through tomorrow and Saturday. Don't you miss it. 502 E Street in Rupert. Right now, let's go back to the phone line and see if Wheels has got Whitney on the phone.
I do not, sir. For some reason, I cannot get through to her. Would you see if Deanne would be able to see if they're over there?
All right. Deanne, would you check? We're trying to find Whitney quickly. Which number did you have, by the way? Quickly give that to me, Wheels.
I have 654-9985.
No, call 678-6945. Deanne said she emailed that to you last hour.
Oh, I apologize about that.
All right, you get her on the phone real fast. Thank you. We're going to wait for our business salute this morning. This has been a day that, quite frankly, has tested my patience a little bit. And just a few moments, we're going to have Whitney on the phone with us. And Wheels, hopefully, will get her on the line at the business. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And like I say every day on the weather, look for the blue door. Let's check and see if Wheels has got her on the line.
I'm getting her on right now.
All right, thank you. I understand she's getting to the phone. I love live radio. I love to sweat. Whitney, are you there? As we wait patiently.
Not yet, sir.
All right, tell her to hurry. And I want to remind you that coming up next half hour, we are going to have a heart specialist on the program, and right now I could use one. Dr. Galati, the chief of the Division of Cardiology at the University of Arizona College of Medicine in Phoenix, and she also is with a writing company. I believe it's called, I got to get this on my paper here right now, CardioSmart, and we're going to have her on our program coming up in about 15 minutes right here on Zebeth Ranch. Is she there, Wheels?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Lovely lady, and I always look forward to talking to her. Whitney Cheney of Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Good morning, Whitney. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
Well, it's been an interesting morning, one that has tested my mettle, but we've got you on the air and ready. What's happening over at Cheney Flooring and Home Design?
Well, we are finishing up a bunch of big home projects this month, actually. There's a lot of people getting ready. It's the spring fever. They're coming in to remodel, to get new carpet or whatever, in the middle of their spring cleaning.
Okay. Now, spring cleaning to me is a little different than what it means to you. I mean, it's kind of a pitch and throw type thing for me. But a lot of people are probably saying, well, how can I get this dull, boring living room to have a little life and vibrancy? What should they do?
I just was thinking about that today. I think, yellow, the color yellow screams spring and summer to me. So if you can add some yellow accents throughout your house, I think that just really brightens up a room, and you're decorating, it can really make it feel like the season, Another thing that I was thinking about is adding some greenery into your house, even like a live plant somewhere.
Okay.
And, they say it even helps clean the air. So.
Okay. And you've been sending me diligently some little tips to give on your advertisement every morning during the weather about wicker baskets in the house and all kinds of mix-it-up patterns and decorative mirrors. If people have questions as to how to do this, can they just come down and talk to you?
They can, and I'm not in the store every day, so if they're coming like from Twin Falls or, somewhere a little bit further than just the Burley area, they can make an appointment to meet with me. I'm typically in on Mondays, but I love to meet with people and help them think of ideas, just for decorating, or even, if they're remodeling a house or building a house. I love to sit down and help them think of colors and textures and patterns, flooring that all flow together. Okay,
so now if it were me and I were building a house today, a brand new home, I would come to you and say, okay, now, Whitney, everything I want for this house in the interior, from the bathroom to the kitchen, I want a John Wayne attitude. What would you do?
That would not surprise me to begin with.
Okay.
For you and your John Wayne team, I would really suggest some kind of rustic antique hardwood to give that fun texture on the floor of, that country feeling.
Yeah.
We also have some carpets that I think would go really well with that same theme. And then we would probably paint with some kind of warmer, neutral colors, and we could decorate with some of those fun Western country photos and even some John Wayne photos, I guess.
I love it. So basically, if somebody calls you... Well, if somebody calls you and they give you kind of their personality and what they like, I can see already you've hit a home run. I like your thinking. And by the way, before I let you go, I want to ask you about all the flooring over there, the tile, the wood, and the carpet. You've got it all, don't you?
Yeah, we try to make our store a one-stop shop. We have a lot of hard surfaces. I know some of our competitors only have carpet and whatnot. We just recently got a whole new line of tile in. It's called Surface Art, and it's a really good price for a really good product. So if you need tile, hardwood, carpet, anything, this is the place to go. And we say that we can meet or beat a price.
I love it. Well, listen, I really appreciate your sponsorship of our weather. I enjoy talking about all the decorative ideas, carpet, flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. And like I always say, look for the blue door. Whitney, God bless and have a wonderful day.
Hey, thanks a lot, Zeb.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Wonderful lady right there. Her and her husband have hit a home run with this. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, serving you. Wow. Okay, now we're going to send it back over to our main studios for a break at the bottom of the hour, and then we're going to come back with Dr. Martha Gulati coming up in just a moment. Don't miss it. We'll be on the air in just a few seconds.
Now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. Hey, today is Cinco de Mayo, and celebrate Cinco de Mayo at the El Caporal. Today, a live DJ will be at the restaurant from 4 p.m. to closing. All your favorite songs. They're going to have all kinds of great food, tacos, tamales, enchiladas, burritos, everything celebrating Cinco de Mayo at El Caporal, 610 North Overland in Burley. Don't you miss it. Boy, that sounds good, doesn't it? Right now, I want to go on the phone line because I've been looking forward to this interview with a lady that is the chief of the Division of Cardiology at the University of Arizona College of Medicine, and Dr. Martha Gulati. How are you today, Martha?
I'm great. How are you?
It's so nice to have you on the program because I've got 1,000 questions and not very much time. Give us a little background about you and what you've done in medicine, primarily in regards to cardiology.
Yes, so I'm a cardiologist at as you said, at the University of Arizona, and my specialty is really on heart disease prevention and how we can prevent heart disease in both men and women.
You know, now, I should tell you up front, Doctor, that about 1 year and 6 months ago, I had the hopefully nobody else has to go through heart attack type thing, and I was blessed. It was of minimal damage, but since that time, I've been very cognizant of what to do, what not to do, what to eat, what not to eat, and give me a little background as to if somebody has a heart attack, life is not over as they know it.
No, the great thing about heart disease and the way that it's changed in the last 20 years and even in the last year is our treatments have gotten better and we are able to save lives. If people get to the hospital quickly enough when they think they're having symptoms of a heart attack, the sooner you get to a hospital, the more likely we are to be able to save you, but also save your heart muscle. The heart is a muscle, and we want to protect its function and make it work as well as it can. So when you said you had minimal damage, my assumption is you got there quickly, we were able to give you treatment pretty fast, and that's what reduces the amount of damage to the heart. So those are the things that we care about, and the medications that we can give you and the treatments and the things that we can do for people having a heart attack really are things that have changed and really are revolutionized how people are actually living with heart disease and living long lives with heart disease. It doesn't mean it's a death sentence. Just because you've had a heart attack doesn't mean that you can't live many, many years forward and do all the things that maybe even better than you did before.
Now, I had, like I said, minimal damage, but they put a stent in. The Widowmaker was about 99% closed, and if I'd have waited, like you said a little bit ago, time of essence, I might not be speaking to you on the radio this morning. But I was blessed, and I'm back doing everything I used to do, and even more. I think my exercise program has been enhanced by at least 50%. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about this morning, Doctor, we're so easy to sit here on the radio and talk about post-heart attack, but really a lot of people should know what to do to stop the heart attack in the first place. What can people take as preventive everyday care or exercise?
Yeah, I mean, what we always tell people is that 80% of heart disease is preventable. So for those people who either know they have risk factors for heart, those risk factors may be, that you smoke or you have high blood pressure or you have diabetes or high cholesterol. If we can treat those risk factors and treat them aggressively, you can have heart disease potentially be prevented. If you have a strong family history of heart disease, the same thing. Knowing if you're at risk is the first step. And by talking with your doctor and them discussing what is your personal risk. And what I tell people to ask their doctor is not just in the next 10 years what's your risk for having a heart attack, but your lifetime risk. And we have risk calculators that we can calculate that for every individual and say, okay, here's your 10-year risk, what we consider short-term risk, and here's your lifetime risk. And then let's discuss a treatment strategy.
Is she still there, Wheels?
Yeah, she's still on the line.
We do not hear her all of a sudden. Something blanked out. Is she... Doctor, are you there? Can you hear me? The line has gone dead. Reestablish that line, please, quickly, if you would.
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a day to remember. I'm beyond mad because now I'm just going to sit back and laugh and take it easy and say, one moment, please, while we reestablish the call to Dr. Martha Galati at Arizona's University of Medicine, and we're going to hopefully get her back on the air. I think she was on a cell phone. I'm not sure, and sometimes beep, they go off the air, and hopefully we can get her reestablished. And Wheels will tell me that in just a moment. Is she back?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. Dr. Galati, sometimes phone systems have a chance to blow up, and they do, comparable to what a heart does, and we lost you there for a moment. I'm sorry.
Yes, I don't know where I was, but I was telling you that quitting smoking can be the most important thing people do for their heart, and that is something that, again, is challenging for the patient, but there's actually lots of good treatment out there to help you quit, and I would encourage people that maybe have failed in the past to talk with their doctor, because there's a lot of good treatments and good therapy if we spend the time helping our patients quit smoking.
Absolutely.
The other excellent things that people need to do, and that we do very well, or very poorly, I should say, as Americans, is eating a heart-healthy diet. When we do a survey of Americans, we know that less than 1% of Americans actually follow the recommended guidelines in terms of the healthy foods that we would recommend. So there's a lot of room for improvement in our diet. And this is becoming a great issue for us because more for the younger generations, quite honestly, where we're seeing more diabetes, more hypertension, and they just have a terrible diet. And this may be the first generation that will not outlive their parents because of what they're eating.
Okay, now
into their body. We know there's an obesity epidemic in the United States, and we're seeing it from childhood onwards. So changing our diet is certainly one thing that it can change everyone's risk. And then exercise. I mean, we say sitting is the new smoking, and we really mean that because it's not even just about the exercise you do. We have evidence showing that if you exercise and spend the rest of your day sitting, that you are probably at greater degree of risk for heart disease than somebody who is at least active during the day, whether or not they actually do intense activity.
Let me ask you, and I'm going to use myself as an example, and you can tell me good, bad, or indifferent on my diet. Now, I'll give you a standard day in the day of the life of Zeb Bell, and then you can tell me, now, I admit to you, doctor, I vary on occasion. I'll go out and I'll have something as a kind of a plus when we go out to eat or something like that. But normally, my day consists of getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I have a cup of coffee with some very minimal low-fat cream, and then either a bowl bowl of bran flakes with peaches or a egg on a piece of toast. That's my breakfast. Then at lunch, I have a salad, a chicken bit salad with maybe some tomato and maybe some little cheese on top and a low-fat, low-calorie dressing. That's it. And then at night, I'll have like a broiled hamburger patty or a chicken breast with a vegetable, an orange, and a wheat biscuit. That is my daily, basically, routine diet.
And no snacks in between?
No.
Good. I mean, that's a pretty reasonable diet. I will tell you that, we should look for protein sources that are low in fat. The best sources, I would say, come from vegetables, but certainly a low-fat meat cut as well is totally a reasonable option. So, if you are someone who eats meat, certainly looking for the low-fat version of any meat source. I try to recommend people consume more fish because of the omega-3s that are in fish and as a protein source, so that, substituting, maybe beef that tends to be higher in saturated fat. This would be a good substitution if you're someone who will eat the fish. I know not everyone will eat fish because of the taste for their own aversions, but but if you don't like that, even thinking once a week of going meatless and trying to get things from plant sources, because that really is a good way to balance more of the diet. There's the saturated fats, the things that really cause atherosclerosis, or those plaques that build up in the coronary arteries, come from fat sources that are animal-based. So that's what people need to know. Every time they eat anything that's made of an animal product, if they're high in saturated fat, that's what's building up the blockages in the coronary arteries over time. So, but in general, I think your diet's good. I think what people should look at whenever they're eating or making up their plate is first the amount of food on their plate, but also is at least half of the plate vegetables, because you need that. Really, it shouldn't be the meat being the biggest portion of your plate. It really should be more than half being vegetables. So, and then a little portion of grains, and then the meat should really only be about a quarter of your plate. Now, it depends if you're eating on a very, very big plate. Maybe you're eating too much of everything.
Okay.
That's the other thing. We also tell people, think about your plate sizes. You look at your grandmother's beautiful china that most of us don't use, you'll see the dining plates were much smaller back then. Our plates now have become supersized because we've become more interested in supersizing our food. So, again, sometimes this is a reason to break out the good china and use it. And we all know that if you use a smaller plate, we will all eat less.
Now, I can say in my case, Doctor, I'm allergic to fish, so I'm not going to be able to have any seafood per se. But I will admit this, and now you can jump in and really chastise me. On once or twice a month, I'm going to go out and splurge. I'm going to have that dish of ice cream, or I'm going to have a piece of pie with maybe a little bit of vanilla ice cream on top. I think you got to splurge once in a while to eliminate some of those cravings. Am I wrong?
No, and we want people to live. We don't. There's nothing. Again, it's the question of whether we serve ourselves ice cream every day versus having it on a rare occasion as a special treat. The problem is because food has become so easily accessible to most of us. Not everyone, but for some people, actually, we find that things that are bad for us tend to be cheaper in the grocery store than the things that are good for us. And that's why we really need people to know the consequences of what they eat. But I really tell my patients, we're all going to cheat, if you want to call it cheating. I don't even think you should call it cheating, to be honest. We're going to have our treats. They are going to make it possible for us to eat the good things, the things that are good for us, but also not feel like we're depriving ourselves. And there can be different tricks that you do, whether it's a treat once a month, whether it's a small portion on a more regular basis. But think when you're eating it, because I always say that maybe we only need 6 to 7 spoons of anything to make our brain feel happy. So, if there's a point where you're like, oh, I just crave that. Oh, it tastes so good. And when you say it tastes good, push it away, because your brain has already been fed. And it's usually our brain telling us what we want to eat anyway.
Now, I can say in my case, I developed a problem where I was fairly sedentary for a couple of months leading up to my heart attack. It was in the fall of the year, and things slowed down. I wasn't outside working as much as I should be or could be, and I didn't exercise like I should have. And now, every day, I religiously go through a really high, fast cardio workout every morning. I think exercise is extremely important. What do you think?
Absolutely. Exercise is probably the most important part of, keeping a heart healthy, and after having a heart attack, maintaining its strength. And I think it cannot be underemphasized. Our bodies were meant to work and do things, and they were not meant to sit around. And so I think getting in some sort of exercise where you push your heart to a higher intensity for some portion of the day, we recommend about 30 minutes a day, just raising your heart rate, that will be protective for you. But also just moving more. I always tell patients, move more, eat less. If there's nothing else they remember from what I say, those are the two things that I want them to do. But exercise is something that you can't be minimized. And after you have a heart attack, we also recommend that people go through cardiac rehabilitation. I don't know if you did that, but that is what we would recommend so that people aren't scared of exercising. Often after a heart attack, or when people use the word widowmaker, people get scared. They're scared to exercise because they think, well, what if this is going to kill me? And then they won't exercise. Cardiac rehabilitation provides us the opportunity to watch people after they've had a cardiac event exercise in a supervised setting, build up an exercise prescription for them, know what's safe for them, we'll monitor their heart through the entirety of the program. It's usually 3 times a week for 3 months, so a total of 36 visits. It's definitely an investment in your health, but it pays off. It's as good as any medication we give you after a heart attack. We know if people go through cardiac rehabilitation, they are more likely to be alive. They're less likely to have a second heart attack after a first one. So there's many reasons. And we also know that people get to a higher level of activity than if they don't go to cardiac rehabilitation. But for everybody, exercise is important. The heart, like I said, is a muscle, and it's got to be used, and it's got to be challenged so that it knows that even if you're having a heart attack, again, people who exercise tend to do better even after a heart attack because their heart has been used and is able to tolerate the stresses that we all go under day to day.
My blood pressure, for instance, has dropped down in the basement compared to where it was. I had high blood pressure, and now a daily reading, which is fairly normal for me, is to see a blood pressure reading at 127/65. Your thoughts on that?
Well, that's wonderful blood pressure, and we really do, that is one of the special effects, I guess, of exercise is when you become more religious about exercising, your blood pressure will improve. Your weight may go down. It doesn't have to, but that's not the only measures that we care about. Your cholesterol will definitely improve with the good cholesterol rising and the bad cholesterol decreasing. So those are many added benefits of exercise. Certainly knowing your number, knowing your blood pressure is important for everyone, whether they've had heart disease or not. They should know what their blood pressure is routinely, and if it's increasing, what is the threshold for treatment. There's been a lot of changes recently about what we think is the right number and everything. People need to talk with their doctors because it really does depend on their age. But keeping blood pressure control is a key to preventing a heart attack or a stroke.
One last thought here, Doctor, and I'm going to ask you a favor to please come back in the near future, because I've still got a ton of questions. But one statement I wanted to make and see if you agreed with me. I think sometimes with heart attacks and heart problems, a lot of people make the misconception that it's basically mostly the guys, the men that have the problem. What about the ladies?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually work a lot with women, and heart disease is the number one killer of both men and women. And it actually, until this last year, we had more women dying from heart disease than men. It's only in this last year that women dropped under men for the first time. And so for women, it's just as serious and just as important. The great thing about women is they recognize when someone's having a heart attack. They will bring their husbands to the emergency room and get them to get taken care of. The problem with women, though, is that they have not been told that they're at risk for heart disease, that 1 in 3 women will develop heart disease in their lifetime. And because of that, often they're not aware when they're having symptoms that might be just exactly like their husband might have had if they had heart disease, or any other men. And they won't recognize that they're having a heart attack because somehow their awareness has not been made about heart disease being the number one killer. Women are very good about, they know about breast cancer, and they know to get screened. They don't know the same about heart disease, and yet it's 7 times more likely that they will develop heart disease in their lifetime than develop breast cancer. So I'm not minimizing breast cancer. Certainly they should get screened, but they should know their risk for heart disease. They should know that they're at high risk of developing it in their lifetime, because 1 in 3 is not good odds for any of us.
Absolutely.
And they should be very proactive. If they don't think someone's taking their symptoms seriously, it's time to talk to another doctor.
Absolutely. Dr. Martha Gulati, and I just absolutely thank you so much for your candor and your very explanative attitude on everything this morning. Thank you so much for being on the program, and please come back soon. I'll be in touch with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. That lady explained a lot of things that we all need to know and be aware of, whether you have had a heart problem or not. And Dr. Martha Gulati, University of Arizona College of Medicine, and I'm going to have her back in the not-too-distant future. Thank you very much. Oh, my. We've got to get the weather on here right now. Excuse me. And the weather is brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Now, if you got some tax money coming back from good old Uncle Sam, be sure and invest it in something you can enjoy, like 70 pounds of beef and pork and chicken for only $249 plus tax. All of this at your hometown meat cutter, Scarrows Meats in Jerome. We're going to talk more about them in just a moment, but right now here's Gina with the weather.
We're going to see some sun today, but it's also going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Winds out of the southeast at 16 miles an hour, partly cloudy, high of 81 is what we're expecting tonight, low of 52. Now, tomorrow as we head on into the weekend, we are having a storm system move through, expecting afternoon thunderstorms and rain showers. Going to continue to be windy out of the east, right around 18 miles an hour. Tomorrow, high of 72. Tomorrow night, low of 49. More thunder showers are in the forecast for Saturday, high of 66. And pretty much the same for Sunday with a high of 70. And then for Monday, it's going to be partly cloudy and very windy with a high of 66. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. Excuse me, clear my throat. Scarrows Meats, our sponsor of the weather this hour. 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Wow, interesting morning, and test our mettle a little bit here. We got through it, and next Monday on the program, holy cow, we got some good people coming on. We're going to have, of course, the Senior Center. I don't know if it's going to be Dennis or Catherine, but then we're also going to have Vicky's Country Garden and Alliance Defending Freedom. There are a lot of things going on with those folks right now with different court cases around the country. Then Maureen Ferguson is going to be rescheduled for Monday at 10:06, talking about Hillary and her stance on abortions. I think you'll find this very interesting. And then at 10:30 on Monday, we're going to have the candidate for Twin Falls County Sheriff on our program, Cliff Katona. So those are just a few of the segments that we have planned for Monday's program. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wow, they've got a free pre-trip safety check. check. They'll give you a visual inspection of many, many items to make sure that you're going to be safe and drive safely when you're over to see Aunt Martha in Gunnison, Colorado. And don't forget, along with that free pre-trip safety check, the very best in tires, many of which are on sale right now. You stop in, whether you've got a car, a pickup, SUV, horse trailer, boat trailer, they have all the tires for you, including the very best in front end alignments, shocks and struts, batteries, and believe me, take my word for this, the best in brake service. They are really, really good. Where do you go? Well, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my old buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. As I stated, we've got a lot of people that are running for political office, and the primary's coming up on May 17th, and we're going to have many, many more to talk about this next week. And we urge you to remember to vote in the primary on May 17th. No excuses now. You be sure and go vote. Final reminder that this Saturday at the Skaggs Field in Burley for the Burley High School, and it's going to be a great big rugby game. We had the coach on earlier this morning. Get out and support those kids. I think it's a very worthwhile project. Wheels did a great job at our studio, and we'll say have a good weekend to him, and we'll be back on Monday morning, bright and early at 8:06, and ride the horse for 3 hours till 11 o'clock, right here on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., and then streaming live all over the universe on ZebBell.com. And remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. See you Monday, everybody. God bless.